Long-term friendships can be complicated and messy. Honesty can be dangerous and revealing. Are you willing to take a chance? What are your motivations? Can your friendship survive? A 14-year friendship between three friends explodes over the purchase of an expensive modernist painting in art, presented at Remy Bumppo at Theater Wit in Chicago. This is Reno Lovison, executive producer at ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com. Since we're talking about art today, I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Anna Horace, a fine artist born in the Netherlands and currently based in Baraboo, Wisconsin. You can see his work at annahorace.com. That's ANNEHORJUS.com. I'll put a link on our website. Art, playing now at the Wit Theatre, is a smart and very funny play by Yasmina Reza, expertly translated by Christopher Hampton and directed by Marty Lyons. Originally written in French, it retains certain European overtones, not simply in the character names and the fact that the painting in question was purchased for 200,000 francs, but also in the intellectualism of the writing. That is to say that it's been my observation that Europeans have a way of broadcasting their intellectual thoughts and ideas openly. They seem to revel in philosophical debate, whereas Americans generally tend to see intellectual expression as overcomplicated and ostentatious. Therein lies the essence of the conflict. Reza, through these characters, is posing fun at the very ostentatiousness that is so prevalent and alive in European discourse. However, Hampton has translated this into a very real Americanized version. It was my immediate impression of this play that it seemed like an extended Seinfeld episode, artfully combining the esoteric and mundane while featuring a fair amount of absurdity. Sergei, played by Chad Bay, is an apparently successful dermatologist who's excited to reveal his recent purchase of a large monochromatic painting to his longtime friend, Mark, played by Justin Allbinder. Mark, unable to hide his negative reaction, laughingly calls the painting shit and criticizes Sergei for buying it. Offended, Sergei defends himself by saying that Mark simply doesn't have the depth of understanding and knowledge needed to fully comprehend the significance of the artist's work. Mark insists that Sergei is simply buying into a sort of bourgeois display of affluence and furthermore has lost his perspective and sense of humor he once had, which would have allowed him to see how outrageously absurd this purchase is. Seeking an ally, Mark visits mutual friend Ivan, played by Eduardo Curley, to tell him of Sergei's new acquisition and lost sense of humor. As a result of this meeting, Ivan visits Sergei, and instead of siding with Mark, he tells Sergei that he appreciates the artist's attempt and sees why the painting appeals to him. Later, when the three of them unite, Mark is horrified that Ivan has seemingly sided with Sergei. After which Ivan admits that he actually doesn't really like the painting. He was just trying to avoid conflict and keep peace between the friends. His attempt to play both sides backfires as Mark and Sergei join forces, now accusing Ivan of being an indecisive and untrustworthy friend. What begins as a disagreement over art quickly escalates into a heated exchange about values, perception, and loyalty, ultimately threatening to unravel their long-standing friendship. The tension between Sergei, Mark, and Ivan is a reflection of how personal tastes, societal pressures, and human insecurities intertwine. The painting itself is not the issue, but is in fact a catalyst for deeper resentment and philosophical disagreements about identity and relationships. Mark seems to see the painting as a symbol of Sergei's pretentiousness, while Sergei views Mark's reaction as a lack of intellectual depth. Ivan, caught between them, is just trying to smooth things over, but ends up being criticized for his neutrality. There's a hysterical, roughly 3-minute monologue by Ivan that is a diatribe involving the fact that both his fiancée's stepmother and his stepmother want to be on his wedding invitation, causing his birth mother to declare that she will not have her name on the invitation at all if the stepmother's name is there as well. This ridiculous rant gives us insight into Ivan's inner struggles and frustrations. The fast-paced, hilarious conversational farce takes place on a one-room monochromatic set by Lauren Nichols, featuring cream-colored walls and a sofa. In the center is a single panel that changes to display another piece of artwork that indicates whose apartment we are in. Sergei's apartment is blank and neutral. Mark's place has a realistic scene of a medieval castle in the country, while Ivan's wall displays a vase full of colorful flowers. If you're lucky enough to have one or more long-term friendships, you will no doubt recognize the frustration of having to navigate what you love about a person combined with the small irritations that can drive you crazy at times. Also, how the freedom to speak openly based on years of trust can also be a minefield. And finally, coming to terms with moments at which you may not be sure if the investment in time justifies preserving a relationship that may simply have changed too much and is not what it once was. Art, presented by Remy Bumppo Theatre Company, is at the Wit Theatre, 1229 West Belmont, Chicago, through June 1st, 2025. Running time is about 90 minutes with no intermission. For information, go to remybumpo.org or simply visit the theater box office. While we're talking about friendship, you might want to take a listen to another podcast by another Chicago podcaster that's all about the life of a 23-year-old girl who's simply trying to figure it all out. The Hangover series is a podcast made to share stories, open up, and hopefully make you feel a little more understood. New episodes drop every Sunday. Find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Just search The Hangover series. We'll put a link on our website. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and or subscribe to our podcast either on our website at chicagobroadcastingnetwork.com or wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. This is Reno Lovison, executive producer at chicagobroadcastingnetwork.com, reminding you that if you need editing or video production for your business or organization, or if you're interested in producing a video memoir about interesting events in your own life, check out renoweb.net.